In the hidden world of spies, where nations depend on secrets and quiet conversations, no one changed history the way the man called Garbo did. Juan Pujol García was not trained as a spy. He was not a soldier, and he had no powerful connections. He was just an ordinary man with a creative mind and a strong desire to stop evil. Using courage, quick thinking, and clever tricks, Garbo built the most detailed network of fake agents the world had ever seen. His made-up reports were so believable that Hitler trusted them more than his own intelligence. Garbo's information helped shape German plans and played a major role in protecting the D-Day landing, an event that changed the direction of World War II. This is the surprising story of a man who became a spy on his own, fooled one of the strongest empires in the world, tricked the Gestapo, and gained the trust of both the Allies and the Germans. This is the story of Garbo, the spy, who helped win the war using only his words. Juan's journey did not begin with secret missions, hidden codes, or government training. It began with a simple man living an ordinary life in Barcelona. He grew up in a family that believed in fairness, kindness, and staying away from extreme political ideas. As a young boy, he was quiet, thoughtful, and very imaginative. No one, not even he, could have guessed that this imagination would one day help win a world war. When the Spanish Civil War broke out, Garbo saw terrible things on both sides. Friends turned into enemies, families were torn apart, and violence replaced everyday life. He disliked cruelty and felt that no ideology was worth the suffering he witnessed. These experiences shaped his beliefs deeply. He decided that he would stand against any force that tried to oppress or control people through fear. By the time World War II began, Pujol had already made up his mind. He wanted to help fight against Nazi Germany. But he had a huge problem. He had no training, no military experience, and no connection to any intelligence service. Still, he believed that one determined person could make a difference. Pujol tried to offer his help to the British, hoping they would let him spy for them. But MI6, the British intelligence agency, did not take him seriously. They saw him as an ordinary man with no skills related to espionage. After several attempts, he realized they were not going to recruit him. Most people would have stopped there, but not Pujol. If Britain refused to hire him, he decided he would become a spy on his own. He created a plan that was as bold as it was unusual. He would trick the Nazis into thinking he was working for them, and then secretly use that position to help the Allies. With no training and no support, he began building a false identity, forging papers, creating stories, and acting the part of a loyal German supporter. Pujol showed a talent that even professionals lacked. He understood how people thought, what they wanted to hear, and how to earn their trust. His natural ability to read human behavior became his greatest weapon. Slowly, step by step, he entered the world of espionage, not through official recruitment, but through pure creativity, determination, and courage. He was never meant to be a spy. He was never supposed to operate in the dangerous world of double agents. Yet, because he believed he had a duty to stop evil, Juan Pujol García took the first steps on a path that would make him one of the most remarkable spies in history. Juan Pujol García began his mission with nothing, no training, no spy tools, and no official support. But what he did have was confidence, imagination, and a strong desire to stop Nazi Germany. After the British rejected him, he made a bold decision. He would trick the Nazis into believing he was one of their loyal agents. He started by creating a completely fake identity. He claimed to be a passionate supporter of Hitler and told German officials that he wanted to help their cause. To make his story believable, he forged documents, created fake backgrounds, and acted with complete confidence. He walked into the German embassy in Madrid and offered his services. Surprisingly, they accepted him almost immediately. The Germans gave him money and instructions, thinking they had recruited a valuable spy inside Britain. But Pujol had a problem. He had never even been to Britain. Instead of giving up, he solved the problem in a creative way. He started inventing everything. He created fake reports about Britain, fake details about military movements, and even fake travel experiences. He wrote with such detail and certainty that the Germans believed every word. Then, he went even further. He invented an entire network of imaginary agents, people who did not exist anywhere in the world. He gave them names, stories, personalities, and responsibilities. These imaginary agents provided him with a steady flow of information that he passed on to the Germans. They were amazed by how large and effective his supposed spy network was. German intelligence became fully convinced that Pujol was one of their most valuable assets. They trusted him blindly, praised his work, and sent him more money to pay his imaginary spies. They never suspected that not a single word he wrote was true. While all of this happened, Pujol continued working alone, quietly building the biggest deception operation ever carried out by a single person. Every report he sent misled German military planning. Every fake detail helped weaken their understanding of the war. And all of it came from a man with no training, just intelligence and boldness. By the time the British finally discovered what he was doing, Pujol had already fooled one of the world's most feared intelligence services. He had proven that even an ordinary person, armed with creativity and courage, could outsmart a powerful enemy. He wasn't a soldier, a spy, or a government agent. He was simply a determined man who refused to accept the evil he saw rising in the world, and he used deception to fight it in his own extraordinary way. When Juan Pujol García finally reached Britain, he had already built a secret career that most spies could only dream of. Without ever stepping inside the United Kingdom, he had convinced the Germans that he was operating a large and active network of agents there. His reports were so detailed and believable that German intelligence treated him as one of their most important assets. Yet the British still had no idea he existed. That changed in 1942. By this time, the war had become a desperate struggle. Britain needed every advantage it could get, especially when it came to breaking German intelligence plans. When British intelligence officers began reviewing German communications, they were shocked by what they found. Reports from a supposed top agent in Britain, whose information German commanders trusted more than any other source. But none of it matched reality. The British quickly realized something strange was happening. Someone was feeding the Germans a mixture of harmless details, delayed reports, and subtle falsehoods, yet in a way so convincing that the Germans believed it completely. They wanted to know who this mysterious agent was. Eventually, through a series of meetings and messages, they discovered that the mastermind behind it all was a thin, quiet, polite man named Juan Pujol García. When MI6 agents met him, they expected a professionally trained operative with a secret team and advanced spycraft skills. Instead, they were stunned to meet a man with no formal background at all, just remarkable talent, courage, and imagination. At first, MI6 was unsure what to do with him. He was untrained, unpredictable, and had operated independently of any Allied control. But as they listened to his story, saw his forged reports, and realized how deeply he had infiltrated German trust, their hesitation disappeared. They understood that Pujol was not just useful, he was a once-in-a-lifetime weapon. They brought him to London and gave him a new code name, Garbo, inspired by the famous actress Greta Garbo, because MI6 believed his acting skills were so good he could fool anyone. From that point on, he was no longer alone. MI6 assigned him a team of experts, cryptographers, writers, handlers, and analysts. Together, they helped him turn his imaginary network into a powerful deception machine. They created schedules for his fictional agents, wrote backgrounds for them, and crafted believable stories that the Germans swallowed without question. The partnership was perfect. Garbo provided imagination and boldness, while MI6 provided structure and protection. For the first time, his lies could be used in a coordinated way to shape the enemy's view of the war. Under British guidance, Garbo's reports became even more influential. The Germans sent him praise, medals, and more money than ever before. They trusted him so deeply that they refused to believe he could ever lie to them. MI6 realized that with Garbo on their side, they had a chance to change the course of the war, not with weapons, but with carefully crafted stories. What began as one man's private mission had now become one of the most important intelligence operations of World War II. Garbo was no longer a rejected volunteer. He was now one of the Allies' most valuable secret tools, ready to play a central role in the biggest deception of the war. Garbo's greatest moment came in 1944, when the Allies faced the most important decision of the war: how to land their armies in German-occupied Europe without being destroyed on the beaches. The success of the invasion depended on one thing: surprise. If the Germans guessed the correct landing point, the Allies might lose thousands of soldiers before they even reached the shore. The Germans believed the most logical place for an invasion was Pas de Calais, the closest point between Britain and France. Normandy, on the other hand, seemed unlikely to them. The Allies decided to use this belief to their advantage. They needed the Germans to keep their strongest units far away from Normandy on D-Day. And to make that happen, they needed someone trustworthy, someone the Germans would listen to without question. That person was Garbo. By now, Garbo had built such a strong relationship with German intelligence that they believed him completely. His network of imaginary agents, none of whom existed in real life, was so convincing that the Germans treated every report he sent as pure fact. They even said he was worth more than 50 real agents combined. MI6 understood that Garbo was the perfect tool for the biggest deception of the war. They created a detailed plan around him called Operation Fortitude, a strategy designed to make the Germans believe that the main attack would happen at Pas de Calais, not Normandy. Garbo's job was to feed the enemy information that was partly true, partly misleading, and always believable. Garbo began sending carefully crafted reports about fictional armies gathering in the southeast of England. He reported troop movements, supply convoys, and military meetings that never happened. He described in detail a fake invasion force supposedly led by General George Patton. Every message reinforced one idea: the Allies will attack at Pas de Calais. Normandy is just a distraction. To build trust even further, Garbo purposely sent one important message too late, making it seem like he had risked everything to warn the Germans, only to be ignored by his British handlers. The Germans saw this as proof that Garbo was loyal to them and working under great danger. It made them trust him even more. When the actual invasion began on June 6, 1944, German commanders believed it was only the first step, a small operation meant to pull their troops away from the real invasion at Calais. They waited for a second, larger attack that never came. Because of Garbo's messages, German high command kept their strongest forces, including tanks and elite divisions, far from Normandy. Those units stayed at Calais for weeks, waiting for a second invasion that was nothing more than a lie. This deception saved countless Allied lives and played a huge role in the success of D-Day. The beach landings at Normandy were still bloody and difficult, but without the German reinforcements Garbo helped delay, the invasion might have failed completely. After the success of D-Day, German intelligence praised Garbo more than ever. They told him he had done a magnificent job and gave him messages of honor, believing all along that he was their most loyal agent. They never suspected that he had just helped the Allies win one of the most important battles in modern history. Garbo's work during D-Day became the highlight of his entire career. It was a lie so perfectly built, so carefully delivered, and so deeply believed that it changed the direction of the war. It proved that information, true or false, can be more powerful than soldiers or weapons. It was, without question, the greatest lie ever told.